So, how many of you have ever felt stuck in your life? I know that I actually have. I remember vividly sitting on this green fluffy couch that my dad had. We'd see him every single 2 weeks after the joint custody negotiation worked out after the divorce. I remember one instance, I was around 12, looking into my dad's eyes and telling him that I really didn't know what love looked like at all. And it hurt me to my core because I was tired of choosing masculine women, tired of trying to cope with that void in my heart with drugs and pornography and distractions ultimately, and it truly hit its head because my mom, as we moved, she protected us from the long lineage of anger and pain that my dad had from seeing, men not really be present in his life. But she also carried on a lineage of just men that couldn't really be present and tying their hands. So it was like, they couldn't really get in there and lead me or guide me the way I needed to be led. And so there I was in a self-created prison, being so anxious and so on edge and not really being able to sit into who I was supposed to be for the longest time because there was so much fear and the suicidal urges and tendency that I had for ages, would come back and linger in the back of my mind. And I'd always question what my worth was. And so I heard about the group, about Gmen, and I thought, might as well give it a shot. There was no hurt other than what, like at the time it was like $100 or whatever a month, and I was like, all right, well, worst thing that can happen is I trick off some money doing this, and I can just always go back to the lifestyle that I had at the time. And at first, I didn't really take it serious because I didn't really see the value that I could bring. But I think afterwards, once I truly got like vulnerable and naked with a couple of the brothers about what I was going through, and my heart, I felt that I couldn't run. I had no option to turn back or to make excuses anymore. I really had to embrace the man in my reflection, and be my own hero. I was looking for validation initially because I just always wanted to be affirmed by men in my life, and I always wanted to have that confidence that I saw other people had, and it was just like I felt that I had these gifts, but I'm just like, all right, I know I'm in tune with my emotions, but like, how do I use this? And I was tired of being frustrated, and I was tired of whenever I got a opportunity in my life, like game changers, like new job opportunities, like moving up or leveling out or moving into different circumstances or better ways of living, I messed it up, and from all of that, after moving out of my mom's house around 22, I realized that I took on the role of being a father figure to people, and especially my mom and my brother, because I felt like the two men that were in my life couldn't really execute upon what they needed to do. And I was just tired. I really was. I was just tired of using this janky playbook of what manhood was supposed to be, and not having a really clear reference or direction as to like what I was supposed to be doing and how I was supposed to, hold myself and act and conduct myself as a man. And so I really needed multiple perspectives. And I think the cool part about when I joined was that there was so many different, you know, stories and perspectives and coaches that you could, shadow under for what a 2 3 month time, and it it really taught me how to adjust and acclimate to the the presence of masculinity, and embracing that, realm inside myself as well. I think the last realization I truly had was in February of this year, where, I didn't really have any of those crutches anymore. My parents weren't around. I was living on my own. I still am. And, my brother wasn't around, and all the things that were my vices before, like the drugs and things were slowly weaning away, but it was just me and the addiction to pornography. And it, it had such a grip on me that I really had to find a deeper meaning, because I I realized that I only get one life, and that by me being able to let this thing go, that there were so many other blessings that I was able to acclimate into my life. And I would say truly that was the hardest, and still is the hardest vice to let go of, because it had such an emotional grip. It was there for me when I felt God wasn't even there at times, and it was there for me when I felt like everybody that I needed and, wanted to find that love or validation, that they just couldn't be there for me. So I turned to pornography for it. And from letting that go, I am able to be courageous in the things and my gifts, and able to go for the positions like a manager position. And it's all from, you know, being humble, and taking the steps in stride, and doing my own hard work within the G. So if you take anything from, what I've shared, is just don't wait, to be your own your hero, and to liberate yourself from the imprisoned mindsets that you have.